Hello, hello. It's your favorite slip fielders minus one are back. We've got Chai at first slip. I'm here in the second slip, and we've got a new guest of ours joining us. Well, he's standing at the third slip, but he loves to field at point, from what I've heard at least. He's a club cricketer. I think he tails the ball, swings the ball at decent pace. And he's still an active cricketer in Melbourne, I think. And I'll actually let him tell us more about his little cricketing journey. Go on, Ram.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Ram here. Landed in Australia in 2007. Like any other bunch of Indians, we were just having fun playing with tennis ball. I was living in Caulfield back then, and we were approached by a couple of Aussies, and they looked at us like, we need people to play in the club. Are you interested? So that's how our journey started. This is back in 2007, a wonderful club, North Caulfield, Glen Huntly. That's where my cricketing journey started in Australia. I've since then played Division 1 in many clubs, turf cricket. I've come across some bowlers who bowl at 130, 140 click. Oh, geez, that's quick. I had a renewed respect for Venkatesh Prasad after facing them.
He's no longer a slow bowler.
Yeah. I was very close to scoring a century in one of the test games. I got out at 92, but I've scored a fair few 50s. Yeah, I'm a swing bowler. I'm a specialist point fielder. I am one of the quickest in the team, and I grew up watching Jadeja and Robin Singh, so they're kind of my idols, and I try to feel like them, I guess.
How good!
So that's me.
And that's your association with fielding at point.
Yeah, that is. I don't know why it's something that I just love fielding at point. It's a bit challenging because the reaction time is very little. Not as great as the slip fielders, though.
I guess at point you need to cover a lot more ground. So you're almost a goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
And lots of run out chances and keeping twos into ones or cancelling out all the singles. So not points. Because I think for us right now in the modern, well, not modernish, would be Yuvraj Singh, right? Who would be at either square leg or point, or Raina. So like again, all the dynamic fielders. So in my head, Ram, that's how you're fielding. You're somewhere around diving on this side or this side, 2 meters covered, easy.
He's the new Jadeja, Ravindra Jadeja in the team.
Yeah. Cool. And agenda for the day, folk, is to go through Pujara's numbers. We're going to review Pujara's career and how I think he should have gotten a farewell test if he was going to be removed from the squad. But we'll analyze his career, his numbers, and how he's been our stalwart in the red ball cricket. Kick us off, Chai. Tell us.
When Dravid and Lakshman were on the verge of hanging their boots, it was hard to find someone that is that classic, test player, someone who could basically bat and bat and bat. Because at that point, during that transition, is where you had players, that were essentially inspired by Sehwag. But here comes a gentleman that is good old test style of batting. And this man, there was an interview that I was watching where Pat Cummins was saying he would run up, release the ball, and Pujara lets it go. The ball goes to keeper, slip, point, cover, mid-off, back to Cummins.
Yeah.
And all Cummins could see was the way he was watching the ball like a hawk.
Yeah.
And it was essentially just these 6 players passing the ball between them, and Pujara was there to bat along. And, that's the caliber of the man, that focus. And it all reminds of that good old, way of playing test cricket. We've spoken quite a bit about how Joe Root tried to go away from the traditional test, and that fast ball, now he switched back. But here is a man, irrespective of whatever IPL, whatever fame was going in the one days and shorter formats, he stuck to his way of playing. I clearly call him as Dravid 2.0 in the squad.
Yeah. And he's still at it. He's still very active in the domestic circuits of not just India, but even in county. But okay, we can peel it back. We can start from the start, from when he first debuted to we can come to now.
Yeah.
See, I think, like you said, right, when Laxman and Dravid were about to retire, I think everyone was like, oh my gosh, who's going to take over? Are we going to have anyone who's going to occupy the crease for long enough? And I think, in my opinion, he's actually even slower than Dravid when it comes to just like hogging the strikes, and just tiring the bowlers. And I think especially, so I think in my head, Pujara's got this one get out of jail shot when, especially against spinners, is when he just dances down and glances. And if you block him in that region, he'll just sit on the wicket. He's like, you know what? I'm all good. I don't want any runs. Give me the balls. I'll just block. I'll just block until you give that passage, and I can get off strike. I'm just gonna block all day long.
Yeah.
It's all about tiring the bowlers as much as possible.
I mean, that's the good old. I mean, as much as the T20s and ODIs have taken over, but watching a classic Test game where it's a true competition, we don't want batsmen going blazing around, but rather a more strategic way. You miss, I hit, and if you are sticking to your line and length, I'm gonna defend. I'm gonna block. Yeah. I'm gonna tire you down. I'm gonna wait for that one loose ball from yours, and then take advantage of it.
Yeah, I remember one incident vaguely. This is back in 2018 when India was playing against England. In England, we lost the Test match, but this commentary is what really interested. I have not been able to find that commentary again on YouTube. It's maybe the algorithm that's playing up with me, but there was one. Pujara was batting. I think he scored 132 in that innings. There's one distinct incident where pace bowlers are bowling at him, and he lets the ball go. It goes to the keeper, and then this is what the commentary is saying, right? The keeper throws to the slip throws to the unslip, and then it goes to the point. It goes all the way back to the bowler, and then the next ball is being bowled. He lets go of that again, and then the commentary says, now listen to everything that I've said before. The only difference being Pujara's eye is fixed on the ball all through to the bowler. Yeah. So after Dravid, he is the only person who's known to do this consistently. In a Test match, if he plays for 2 days, every single time his eye is glued on the ball because he needs to know what's happening with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably also why you can't sandpaper when Pujara is on strike.
But going back to the start of his career, and as much as we know Pujara being your classic test style of player, he was part of an under-19 World Cup, and he's got the man of the tournament in that series. He was a man of the tournament.
ODI 2020.
Yeah, this is under-19 World Cup back in 2006, which is your 50 overs. Yeah. And it's so surprising that this man is the man of the tournament for that World Cup.
Yeah,
and doesn't make a debut for the next 4 to 5 years. Yeah. Back then, the tradition, or just after that, was if someone's made it to that World Cup, and someone's basically, been that top-notch player in the tournament, they get a straight entry into the squad. He struggled to make it, and he only got in when I think Dhoni picked him up. Dhoni started to push him up, started to swap around. I mean, after his debut, he swapped him for Dravid in few of the innings, and that's how he grew.
Yeah. Wait, is that in the ODIs or test, right?
In the test.
Oh, yeah.
He was never seen as a ODI investment by BCCI.
I
only played 5.
Yeah, go on.
He only played 5 ODIs in his entire career.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's probably the point where ODIs changed, where the runs of 280 were not enough, and you have to score above 300 to actually have a chance of winning, right? And that's when Ryder came in and all like the thing is, so at that time I think there was another player, Subramanian Badrinath, right? That man was averaging 60 runs domestically and only got like 2 or 3 chances, and I think he retired after that. So even he didn't have a chance. And then maybe Pujara would have had a chance. Again, I think his numbers are probably a little bit better in List A games than they are for the first class games.
Absolutely.
Even he's played a lot more test matches, right? But with the striker, it was impossible for him to come at that point in time.
He was part of the CSK camp when they won the trophy.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because
not the 11.
doesn't make a difference. He was part of the winning CSK campaign.
Yeah.
But I was looking at
is that when they bought him for the base price of 50 lakhs? When they came back from Straya?
That's it. No, when I was reading up, he was unsold for the first 2 seasons, but then KKR bought him. He's part of RCB for quite a few while. And he played he was picked by Punjab as well before eventually everyone decided to give him away. And this was 2014. And then after 7 years, he gets picked up by CSK again. And all along, his main fame has always been Test cricket.
But I think he's been like pivotal in our top 5, right? Where if he gets out early, I think everyone after him is in trouble because that ball looks brand new. There's no one there to like blunt force the ball into having no shine. And as soon as the movement goes, then you have your klrahul come in, or like maybe even Kohli or anyone else who comes in afterwards who can just like stay on from there because all the movement's gone. Why? Because
surprisingly, one of the other facts that not many people also talk about is he's really good against spinners.
Yeah,
he can use his feet so effectively against spinners. For some strange reason, when I was watching India against Sri Lanka, the ODI series, I remember him. I was like, maybe this guy would have helped us.
Yeah. So, do you know something similar happened years ago where India went to a spinning nation and they struggled just like this? And then as soon as this happened, they're like, "Oh, bring Dravid on. Dravid will help us stabilize this. Maybe they'll be like, bring Pujara on.
Hey, this man is still playing and he's just a phone call away.
Yeah.
He's so dedicated and committed to cricket. He's currently playing English county.
Yeah.
And if there is a break there, it turns up for Saurashtra in the local Dilip trophies and stuff. So. He, in a heartbeat's time, he can jump in, strengthen that middle order, even today.
Yeah. I just did some quick Googles, and I found out that, like, I thought he would have played as much or maybe around the same, but he's only played half the amount of balls Dravid played at Test level. How crazy is that? So Dravid played over 31,000. I mean, I know he's played a lot more games. Like Dravid's probably I think played like 167 games, but even then, still double. So it's okay. I think I can't get carried away when I talk about Pujara then.
I think it goes back to the intro, right? He was dropped from a squad, and there was no specific reason provided, and he just faded into sunset.
Yeah.
And Dravid has a really long career. Had this man played for another few years. I think the last he played was the 2021 series in Australia, and I think after that,
he played one more series after that, and then he vanished. I think
nearly 3-4 years, he's disappeared.
Astonishingly, 2018-19 against Australia. Pujara played I believe he played about 1,258 balls, which is the highest number of balls played by any batter who's visiting Australia in a test series.
It's crazy.
Right. Hey, you talk about sticking to the pitch, putting your body between the win and loss. Here's a classic example for that 2021 series. especially when all your top players were stepped out either for injuries or personal reasons, and we had pretty young team. Rahane and Pujara were considered the senior most players in the squad. Pujara did not have great series when he compared to the previous one in terms of runs, but him staying on the pitch on vital days of the game was essentially the difference between India leveling the series and India winning the series.
But I think that's the part BCCI or selectors should have valued, right? Where even if he's not scoring the runs, if he scores 30 runs off of 100 balls, those 100 dot balls, or I guess, I don't know, whatever amount of dot balls, will scuff up the ball enough so that the other people, it's not like Bunt can come in and swing his bat from get-go, which he's going to do regardless. Even if the ball is just like brand new shiny, he's still going to go for his little lap shots to Anderson. Like, it's going to happen. So why not just have this guy in, still, do what you do best. Just make the ball old. That's it.
I think, to me, it's more what Joe Root's currently doing to the English squad, right? You've got a whole bunch of young players that are whacking the ball around. I'm talking about post-baseball era when English decided we got to mix baseball and traditional cricket. Joe Root's just coming in there, sticking to the wicket, right? He is like, I'm going to hold on to this edge or this side of the wicket. The others, you want to stick around with me, play a test, happy for you. You want to baseball it, go for it. Pujara would have done the same. Or Indian squad would have been the same, where you had Kohli who could come around. You had Rishabh Pant, then Rahul, Shreyas, whoever you want to have on the other end. He could essentially hold on to one side of the wicket.
Yeah, I think the problem I think they highlighted with Pujara having him in the team was that when he soaks up all the balls, people on the other side were getting frustrated. And that was one of the issues they pointed out, and they're like, and the thing is, when you compare him to Root, right? I don't think so. Root actually bats at double the strike rate at Pujara would bat, even after him being the slowest player in the English team. He would still go at 60, 65 strike rate, whereas Pujara's gonna hover at 40
30
to, well, I'd say 30 is mean, but like 40 to maybe mid 50s, which is still very slow.
In the last Australia series that Pujara came around, his strike rate was under 30. He was at 29.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And you had on the other side Rishabh Pant going well above 80.
But that works, right? As long as you have that one guy who's just chilling, and it actually had the morale of all the bowlers down. Whenever they saw Pujara on strike, they're like, why am I even here? This guy's just gonna go. He said that, I think Pat Cummins in that documentary on Prime, Test, he said that he's like, if as soon as I see this guy on strike, I'm just like, oh, he's just gonna block me. I have to come back and bowl the same ball again, and he's gonna block me again. I'll go back and bowl the same ball again. He'll do this to me for 2 days in a row, and I'll have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And his sledge for him on the pitch was that, you're boring everyone, including me. Please move on. And Pujara's like, I'm just building a tent here.
I don't think that will distract him from what he's doing. I think he'll get more motivated.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, yeah, you're right. The series, the show, that was brilliant. And there was a point where everyone's like, this guy is wearing me down, and I just can't bowl to him anymore.
Yeah. And it's a 5-match series, right? So the more you make them bowl in the initial part of the series, the more toll it will take on them for the later matches. So I think having someone like Pujara who's going to live on the pitch is a necessity, not just like something that you need to win one match.
I think he is definitely an asset, especially in the overseas tours, because in Indian subcontinental conditions, if you have Aussies or English team visiting, it's all dominated by spin for us, right? We're going to rip through with our spinners. But when you are visiting in conditions like South Africa, conditions of English or Aussie cricket, even New Zealand for that matter,
Yeah.
where the ball swings, you need someone to basically take the shine of the ball.
Yeah.
You need someone to just basically hold on to a wicket, stop the flow of wickets, which, look back 6 to 8 years ago, which was traditionally the case. You get one and then the wickets just keep falling down and down.
Yeah.
You definitely, especially they could have done in such a way that in a home Indian continent, skip the or drop him from the series, from the squad. But for overseas, man, he's scoring ridiculous runs in English conditions. That would be a great asset for the team if they include him for the series later down the year in Australia.
Yeah. I think the last match that he played was the Test Championship, right? The finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that was it.
American still, he's still smashing in county. Like, bring him. We need him for the Australian series. Like, can you think of a single player who's going to wear the bowlers down when they come to Australia? Like how he did. Actually, no one.
In the current squad, when he holds a record of facing most number of balls by an Indian in a Test innings, like 500 odd balls.
Yeah, like
most of these games, you barely see an innings that is going to last 500 balls, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's 70 or 80 overs with the way it's all about strike rate these days. Even Tests, people still pick traits from ODIs and T20s and go whack. Quick 400, 450, declare the innings, move on, let the game go on, right?
Yeah, in my opinion, the next closest, I'm not saying closest by a mile, but it's like very far still. KLrahul might probably be a good option in Test. As long as he doesn't touch the ball, because the minute he touches it, he's going to nick it.
But he's already he was already in the squad, right? Like with Pujara, he was I think middle order. Like because Pant was into back then, I'm pretty sure he was our first choice keeper, and he was already in the middle order. I think if someone can do it, it's probably KLrahul with his technique, and I don't think he has the temperament like Pujara because he likes to look for runs. And I think the other closest one I thought was going to be Sarfaraz, given he's got massive amounts of runs in first class. But he again looks like someone who wants to get on with things, like wants to score runs. So
I mean, the only other person that I could think of is Dhruv Jurel. He played against English. He really stuck to the pitch. I think when Sarfaraz went blazing guns, I think that game, second innings or the next game, is where India were in a tough situation, and he dug on.
That innings was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, he was not recognized as Sarfaraz was, but it had a high impact than Sarfaraz's innings,
and he made it look so easy too.
True.
Yeah, but again, back to Pujara then, right? So Pujara's last 10 games in Test matches, right? He scored against Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, he scored 102 in one innings. First innings, he scored 90 runs. And then 3 games later, he scored a 59 against Australia. Had one okay game, one bad game where he got up for a duck and had a 31 not out. After that, against Australia, only first inning was played and he scored 42. After that, we played the finals. He didn't do well there. And then nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure if you compare those numbers to what Kohli had, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Kohli's had a good Test season in a while. So interesting time.
We gotta get our OG's proprietor, Mr. Jayeshah, take some interest on Pujara and bring him back into the squad. Another interesting fact, and this probably is one of those rarest achievements because Tests don't last 5 days this time. Pujara is one of 3 Indian players to have batted on all 5 days of the game. It was in his classic Eden Gardens against Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
And he's only the 9th player to do so. Games don't go 5 days. These records are going to be hard to even touch. But batting on every single day is an amazing feat to do so.
And Eden Gardens is not an easy place to bat either.
Yeah.
It's a good
Exactly.
More.
And Sri Lanka do have decent spin in their mix-up as well. So
they know now for sure. But I think at the least, I think Pujara should have been given a farewell game and should have been told that, hey, we're moving on from you. We're looking at these young people who are going to take the baton forward.
Do the same
Here's
thing
your
like
one game.
Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah.
Jimmy Anderson, first game of the series is your farewell game. Just come back. We did the same for Saurav Ganguly after the whole Greg Chappell debacle. He did come back just to play his farewell test.
Yeah.
We did the same for Lakshman. There was game for Dravid, and this man deserves one.
Yeah, but to be honest, what if they had the chat and he's like, no, I want to try out more. I want to play more. I'll get better and come back.
Well, you got to have a chat, something similar to what English Board did to Jimmy, right? Three people that went up to him, had the conversation. Australia does have similar conversations with all of their players. If they're out of form, they do have a chat. They drop them with right reasons.
Yeah.
I think it just needs a change in mindset of the board in organizing or having those conversations.
Yeah, the 2023 test average does not do him any favor, man. She's sitting at 25.3 with 8 games.
Yeah. Look at it. Look, how many balls did he face though? Because our argument for Pujara is not that he scores a lot of runs now, is that he allows batters who come after him to score a lot of runs.
He's there to tire out the bowlers. He's there to just bring the opponent's morale down. And then you have the rest of the squad go score runs.
So the dot balls across his career since he started playing test is around the higher 70s, touching the 78, 79.
Yeah, of course.
In all the years of test matches that he's played.
That's crazy. Oh, what a man.
I think the good old memories or the last famous memories of him was putting his body, getting hit all over the body just to survive that one day, just to consume, just to draw the game, just to seal the series. And that, to me, with these days where you get hit once, you're all right. You get hit twice. The batsman essentially just walk off the pitch, take a comfort break, come back at the fall of next wicket. And that small gap is enough to create, a few more wickets, new batsman walking in. And this man stuck to the pitch. It was essentially, Pap was there. Most of it was he was ducking the ball. It was avoiding it, or he was taking it on his body. 11 hits from mighty pacers of Australia is no joke, and he was hit. He was hit not places where they had pads of protection, sit on the arm, on the chest. God knows,
there's one on the neck as well. Yeah,
but still the man just stuck to the pitch. That memory is what I cherish of his innings.
The craziest thing for me was he actually puts his shoulder out to get hit. Like he used that as one of his ways to leave the ball, so that the ball would just fall off and it wouldn't hit like his gloves or anything else if he tried to leave the ball. So he literally used his shoulder as his pad and just like,
Yeah. So there's an interesting fact in that, right? So he actually gets hit in his fingers.
Yeah.
And after that, he decided to show his shoulder. That way he can continue batting. He didn't want to compromise his fingers.
Yeah. Oh, so the replacement. Sorry. So now I've just found this out. The replacement player for Pujara was actually Patidar. So the spot for spot match was Patidar who came in, and I don't know if he's a good. I mean, he's got a decent first class career. Average of it is 43. I don't know if that works.
But he
Yeah.
did not have a great run in that English series.
yeah. That's why we don't.
We did speak.
That's why we didn't remember.
But as much as we're talking about Pujara and his dot balls,
Yeah.
he holds the record of he's the joint fastest Indian player to score 1,000 test runs. So at the
Wow.
start of his career,
Yeah.
he was pretty quick.
Yeah.
And maybe to establish his role, or most of his runs, about 2,000 of his 7,000 odd runs, have come against Australia. And
Yeah.
maybe to adapt to Australian conditions, he's just changed the approach. Now, if you look at his career, his run.
And for that initial part of his career, he was known to hit big hundreds. Like when I say big, everything was over 150s. Like he as soon as he was stuck on the crease, we knew something big was going to happen, right? And I think that's where he lost people's faith, is when in the later half of the careers, if he got to his 100, that was a big deal. And that's why his 100 tally isn't even that like big when you think about Pujara. Like it's still 1900s, which is a lot in the grand scheme of things. But for an Indian great, it's a little less.
Yeah. Of that 1905 game of Australia against Australia. Right. So he's played 37 innings against Australia and he's scored 1,893 at an average of 54.
Yeah, wow.
But more interestingly, strike rate 42.
So if you look at his runs, he scored massive against Australia, England, South Africa. So all the
big boys
teams with some really good bowling lineup. He was able to score big, score decent. And like we've said, with the conditions and with their bowlers heavily relying on swing, this man would wear them down. And then that was one of the key success. And most of his career, he played under Kohli. And it was a good mix of that aggressiveness from Kohli and the other way. Let's bore the crowd down, batting by Pujara.
So I think for me, if he had done a little bit better in England and South Africa, because he averages under 30 in both of those countries. Not that he played a decent amount, 16 matches in England and 10 in South Africa. He scored centuries in both of those places, but average of under 30, pretty underwhelming, I think. But then he smashes it when he goes to Australia, average 47 in Australia. And if he goes to Bangladesh, he's only played 2 games, but he averages 74. Pretty good. Oh, and 90 in
90
Sri Lanka.
against Sri Lanka.
Love spin. Let's go.
Yeah. Slow wickets.
Yeah.
He's the man to go to.
Every time I see Pujara playing spin in my head, he just runs down, puts it on the leg side, and just takes a single on the other side.
Yep. That's his classic shot.
Yeah. And you know what? That's exactly what they blocked when England came to India or Australia came to India. They blocked it, and it was like, it's all goods. Until they gave him the single. It was so good.
Yeah. But yeah, an amazing middle order classic test, or probably one of the last classic test players from Team India.
Yeah.
That we're going to see in a while.
And I think this was our case for him to get that one farewell test match. Maybe organize West Indies or someone to visit us, or even Afghanistan to visit us, and just give him that one guard of honor test.
We've got 2 tests against Bangladesh. That's going to kick off pretty soon. So hopefully one of them. But I personally would wish him to play his final test against his favorite opponent, Australia.
In Australia too?
In Australia.
Yeah.
So
to be
later
honest,
down the
they're
year,
gonna need him. They're gonna need him when they come here. They're gonna need him so bad.
Yeah. I don't know if this is the right thing to say or not, but the last time Pujara played really well or was a key player was when half of your main squad were down with injuries.
Yeah. And even after that, so that's 2 seasons ago, right? Because they came once after that also, and he
Yeah.
even then played really well when the
Exactly.
18 was here. So
Yeah.
come on,
So want him to see for one last time.
yeah.
And an ideal Boxing Day. Let's do it.
And he's running in some good form right now too in county. He's had a recent
Oh, man.
100 in the last innings, a few average innings, had a 41, and then a century again, and then a really good match against Glaucs where he goes 86 and 44. So pretty good form. So bring him on.
And
Yeah.
and if the Aussies try to ruin his send off match, we just have to gently remind them of the IPL contracts.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah. OG scriptwriter, Mr. Jesha, if you're listening in, bring Pujara back.
the
Bring him
crazy
back.
thing is, if they do bring him back, he'll be close to 37.
Hey, looking at the way Rohit's going, 37 is the new 31s.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like RohitSharma is probably one hamstring injury away from retirement.
Let's not say that.
Let's see.
We
Guys.
need him. We need him for the next World Cup. We need
So
him
for
from
me-
Champions Trophy.
For me, the interesting part from here on is going to be, is Patidar going to stick, or are they going to look at Pujara, given Australia's going to happen, and he still looks like he can bat really well in the tricky conditions of the UK. Yeah, question remains. We'll find out soon, folks. Probably a good place to round off, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts? Oh, yes, going once, going twice, going thrice, all done, sold. Just like
Bring
us,
Pujara
subscribe
back.
us, bring Pujara back, yes, please. Yeah, like us, subscribe us, watch some of our old episodes over here somewhere. I think the links are.
Someone up there.
Yeah, and then share us, comment on us, and you'll probably see Ram coming back sometime in the future.